Hello and welcome into the KE Report. I'm your host, Shad Markwitz, and today we're getting an update on Scottie Resources. Scottie Resources is traded on the TSX.V under the ticker SCOT and on the OTCQB under the ticker SCTSF. I'm joined today with the CEO of Scottie Resources, Brad Rourke. And Brad, always great to have you on the show. You've been on a whirlwind tour to a number of conferences in Europe spreading the good word about Scottie, and there's a lot going on with the company. You just put out a PEA, which we discussed in our last discussion, but you've got a bulk sample going on. You've got the biggest drill program the company's ever had going on at your Scottie Gold Mine Project in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. After being at shows in Switzerland and Germany and England, what was the sentiment like, just as an initial thought here? What was the sentiment like for investing in gold equities?
Shad, over the last few years, we get little head fakes where maybe for 3 weeks there's a little bit euphoria, but ever since you and I saw each other in Brian's conference in New Orleans, it certainly seems that there's a shift and people are generally interested. And so I would have to say, and this is my 10th year, it seems there is a real difference right now where we've got really sophisticated guys coming and they're armed with questions. Like, I mean, which means they've done a lot of due diligence. And before, I think people were just going through the motions. So, of course, with the commodity price doing so well, but yeah, they're coming out of the woodworks and they're asking good questions, and that's all we can ask for. So, yeah, it appears to me that things are changing from that retail market perspective. And of course, I was doing half corporates, half retail stuff. So, yeah, it was very encouraging. I'm a little tired right now. I just got home late last night, so I'm on a different time zone. But no, very encouraging. Yeah, I think the future is going to look good for us and for the industry, more importantly.
Do you notice any differences between, let's say, US and Canadian North American investors versus European investors?
Well, I have to give a shout out to Kai's show. What's interesting about the Gold Messy is it's a total different crowd than, if I did a Zurich show, I did a Germany show, I did a London show, and New Orleans. And the London, Zurich shows are, a lot of similar people that you would see at the Beaver Creek show. I mean, there's always obviously a few different, more London-based people in London, but a lot of familiar faces. But at Kai's show, it's a total different crowd. And so that one really impressed me. There was actually 4 meetings we did in particular. I mean, we did 20 meetings at that show or something, but people we'd never met, and we never opened up the deck once. These people had done their due diligence, and they were asking, real, I'm not saying hard questions, but just in-depth questions. We don't get those very often. So even Thomas had to think about a few of the answers. And of course, we love people asking challenging questions. Again, not challenging, but just unique, and just shows that, these people have looked at the data. So that was encouraging to me. And again, all the conferences seemed just a little bit more sincerity and real interest. But from a retail perspective, and it's always been my theory that when the retail market comes into this industry, and they're not there yet, Germany is going to be the first. They just have a different view or relationship with gold. And I'd done Kai show about 3 other previous times, and it was standing room only. It was packed, and so I think that's could be the signal. Or that's what I'm hoping, and so we'll see. I mean, well, let's just see what going into 2026. I think that'll be the time. I'm hoping, but I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Well, you brought up the president of the company, Thomas Mumford, being in the meetings with you, and I think we need to give Thomas a special shout out here. The names were released for the 2025 AME Awards, and the very first name on the list, Thomas Mumford. Maybe talk about the prestige of this award because it's not something that was just trumped up by some conference. This is a award given by peers for a notable discovery that was made at your Blueberry contact zone.
Yeah, I mean, how wonderful is that? Unfortunately, they news released it at the right at my last meeting of all these conferences. I would have loved to have been able to talk about it. And, even Thomas didn't tell me until like a couple days before it came. But, really happy for Thomas. Really, again, it's not a popularity contest. That is given by, geological peers. And if you look at, just the last two guys, Scott won it last year for Snowline and then Jack for at Fireweed Metal. So we're in really good company. And yeah, I imagine we've got to be the lowest market cap ever to win that award. But, again, a little bit more validation. That blueberry is special. And it was Thomas that kind of redefined the geology on that. And we've never looked back since. I mean, when I bought the blueberry vein, I assumed it was kind of an east-west structure, very similar to I just thought it was an extension of the vein sets that we see at Scottie. And it took him, Thomas, a couple years of drilling because we're very small drill programs back then, Shad. But and that's when he kind of was scratching his head right at before COVID and goes, I think it's north south, generally speaking. And once he came up with that theory and we tested it with the drill bit, we've never looked back. So very proud. Good for Thomas. He deserves it. He works very, very hard, and good for our shareholders, and just yet another feather in our cap for credibility. So pleased. It'll be fun. They have a big award dinner at the roundup, so we'll get a table, and Franco reached out, like, wants a seat at the table for his award. So I'm just really happy, and again gives me some more marketing stuff to get out there, and try and just show people that this is quality and it's real.
Well, yeah, big kudos to Thomas from our team here, but also I think it's a big kudos to the prolific nature of the discovery at the Blueberry Contact Zone and what that means for the Golden Triangle. And you mentioned that in the past you've had some initial small drill programs to get going on the property. You just completed your largest drill program ever in 2025 at the Blueberry Contact Zone, at the Scottie Gold Mine area, and a few other regional targets like the C and D's veins. So I know you're still releasing a lot of assays from that, and there's going to be a lot of news to come. But so far, the picture that's coming together is just building upon what you already knew. Any key takeaways from some of the recent results that have come out of the drill campaign you just completed?
Sure. So, and just so the viewers are aware, a lot of this drilling's infill because one of the big goals is that we need to bring the deposit that we've released so far without any expansion to an indicated level, because we're going right to feasibility. So I don't think we've mentioned our last drill result, which was the P zone, which is outside of that and doesn't qualify in our resource. But we had 8 grams over 22 meters, a little bit better than that on the P zone, which is our own. That's a discovery of our own. Nobody knew about the P zone until we drilled it. So yeah, I think a lot of the drilling's infill because we have to get to feasibility if we want to be mining in 2028. Lots of news to come out on that yet. I would think there's 80 holes that we haven't even seen yet. So yeah, we have a ton of news flow, and then going into 2026, it'll be a bigger drill program than the 27,000 that we did just completed. So yeah, we're hair straight back. We're working really hard, Chad. And with some of the news that we put out on these infill holes, they've been spectacular, which means our model's going to hold in, and it's probably a little bit better than what we've initially put in the PEA, because we don't get to put out the PEA or the resource, and they're very conservative, right? They're very cautious on not letting things, let your wave your arms too much, especially with the nature of our deposit. We got these high grade hits, but they don't want to give you a big influence on it if they're 100 meters apart, because you want to be sure. So we're just filling those in between those 100 meters, and they're as good as the other ones. So I think it's the model's holding in. It's probably a little bit better than reported, and so yeah, we're encouraged. And again, lots of expansion at Blueberry on top of, so as we're going to the indicated level, we just keep drilling those holes down. So a lot of the resource under the 300 meters that isn't part of our PEA, although we have the same types of hits down there as we do closer to the top. So just gives us confidence, and we know we're on the right track. We can add a lot more ounces there for sure.
Yeah, nice to see a balance of mostly the infill drilling, building more continuity and jumping categories, getting it ready for the more advanced studies, but also some new hits like that P zone hit you mentioned, the 8 grams per ton gold over 22.35 meters. if that was a brand new discovery from a small drill play that just got started, people would be doing cartwheels in the aisles over that. So I think people have gotten used to you guys putting out over 100 gram meter hits pretty regularly. But I think it's encouraging that you keep making new discoveries and keep showing the potential mineral wealth at this area. And it's also encouraging, Brad, that you're funded for next year's program. You put out some news on the 17th of November about the charity flow through the financing. 23.5 million was raised. That really sets you up, I would think, for next year's program. Talk to us about this financing, but also how it cashes up the company.
Sure. So currently today, I think I have $10 million in the bank. We weren't looking to do a financing, but after the PEA came out, some of these bigger funds that wouldn't look at us in the past, although I certainly try, as you can see, our registers got a lot of pretty credible people. So I go elephant hunting, and we'll close it and we'll release who that fund is, but very recognizable. And then it was just that, that 23.5, it's all charity. We're pretty good on hard dollars right now. It's just four sub agreements, and the other three are existing large shareholders. So again, we continue having the support from the people who have supported us in the past, and we just couldn't say no. Again, I was, in my mind, I wanted to maybe get a few more news releases out and do something in the new year, and hopefully the stock moves a little bit more appropriate. But the quality of that money is sticky, long term. They'll keep supporting as long as we keep having success. So I kind of had to make that decision, and I'm quite happy. And like again, when that gets closed, we'll release who they are. But pretty excited that $23.5 million with just four names. And, it's dilution, yes, but three of those names are already large shareholders of our company. So at least that dilution goes to people who've been supporting us in the past. So that'll give us, I mean, theoretically $33 million. And then let's not forget, we're going to receive money before the end of the year on the bulk sample. So that's sitting at the port. The ship has been ordered. I believe it's December 7th, and that'll be off on its way to China, and then we receive a check 5 days after. So we'll be able to release kind of the final numbers on that piece of business before the year ends. So we certainly will have close to that, just under $40 million, and that allows us for the 2026 program to, again, we'll probably expand that drill program. I don't even know how much more drilling we need to be indicated because we still haven't added this year's to that model. So we're probably a lot further along than we think. So it'll give us a little chance to do a little bit more explorational holes in 2026 so we can show that blue sky. And then, we're running as fast as we can. A lot of the money's permitting, and we've already started the baseline, and we've done a lot of engineering, and a lot of feasibility studies are already done. But those things are expensive on top of the drilling. But we're fully funded for 2026 without a doubt. So people don't have to worry. And we did it with no warrants. And we have very little warrants in the company as a whole anyways. So we've set it up so this is investable for people. And we're still a very attractive market cap at $100 million. I imagine we'll be, of course, your market cap goes up when you raise more money. But still, with that PEA numbers in hand, there's a lot of value here. I mean, this is a very good investment right now for people.
Yeah, I think the PEA was a big eye opener for a lot of folks in the industry. And so I could see where some of the strong shareholders would want to up their stake, but also bring in some new folks. And in addition to that, as you mentioned, the bulk sample slated to bring in some extra non-dilutive money to the company's treasury. So you're set up in this probably the strongest financial position I can remember after covering the company for about 4 or 5 years here. So very nice to see. For people that haven't been following along with that bulk sample, let's just maybe take a quick minute, Brad, and remind them what you did here. You got 10,000-ton surface bulk sample off the Ben vein, which I think was near surface or at surface, and that's at the Scottie Gold Mine area. So maybe talk about what you hope to learn from this and why this is such a big proof of concept.
Well, it is a excellent proxy for, we're blessed that, every project that's gonna go into production, the best always have starter pits, right? Because obviously, and there's no strip on the top. It basically, we didn't do the blueberry vein, and the Ben vein is just, 200 meters away from the road zone. But we're gonna have to move the road a bit to where we do those open pits, so we couldn't blow up the road. So we decided to go after the Ben vein. It's the exact same stuff. It's analogous to the blueberry veins. We got a permit, I think July 8th, and we were blasting within 7 days. Sean had all that down at the port in September, and we crushed it. We didn't get to put it through ore sorting because we didn't have an ore sorter up there, but it comes in at 15 grams, and we got 4,500 tons. So even surprised us. And I don't want people to think our open pit we have slated in the PEA at 7 grams, which is still extraordinarily good, but we were kind of hoping for 10 grams at the bend vein. But after we did that first blast, 3 meters down, the vein widened. And, you don't drill 3 meters, the shallowest holes might be 30 meters. So it was a big surprise for us. And when we released those numbers, I think people could, extrapolate how easy it was because we'll include all the metrics on what it cost to do it. And it was, for me, I'd never done it before. It was shocking. The geotechnical holes were harder to do than Sean had that done lickety split, and so I was pleasantly surprised. So I think apart from the money that we receive, and it's nice to have non-dilutive money, it's actually showing people the full spectrum of what that costs and the profit that we receive from it, and they can look at that and kind of get an idea, what that open pit looks like in 2028. So it's very exciting news for us. It's our month. We're getting lots of good news for November.
Yeah, you guys have really been stacking up the news. It's a lot to follow along with for people. If they looked at Scottie a year or two ago and came back today, they probably wouldn't even recognize it. But fantastic proof of concept with the bulk sample, the ease that you're able to blast it and muck it and get it down to the port. It just shows the proximity to the port, how convenient that is. That you're the second closest project to a deep sea water port on the planet. So a lot of positives stacking up for Scottie. I guess just as we wrap up, what kind of news flow do you want people watching out for as we round out this year and then head into next year that you think is going to move the needle?
I think there's three things. It'll be, once we close the financing, we'll release who that other fund is, and we're just pleased that we're finally. I've been working on him for a long time. The bulk sample, I think, is to me the most exciting because we'll show economics, how we have the ability, we have the skill set to get things done efficiently. And then, of course, I don't know the news myself, but I mean, we're all the drill results to come. So lots and lots of news. And on top of Thomas's award and being recognized, it's a great list of people who've won that award. So yeah, I think the next 3 months, I'm excited to get out there and market, and the story's a little bit different. For me, the same story year after year. I go do these meetings and I get sick of my own voice. But now we have so many different things to speak about, so it's even a little bit more interesting for us. And I let Thomas do a lot of the meetings now, and now I can feel his pain sitting beside me in these meetings while I do all the talking. I let him do it all, and I sat there, I was getting bored. So, but he's doing a great job. He's done a lot of video interviews and such. So, I'm very happy we made him president, and he's doing a heck of a job. Heck of a job.
Yeah, Thomas is doing a great job as the prez, and we'll definitely get him on the show again sometime soon too to give you guys a break and you can switch it up. But we'll get into some of the drill results as they come out, and we may do a video segment down the road where we have Thomas show some folks here at the KE Report visually all the different drill results and where they're coming from and how this all ties together. But always great to talk to you, Brad, and a lot going on with the company. For those of you listening in, definitely click on the link below down in the show notes. It takes you over to the Scottie Resources website, straight to their news section where you can sign up for updates that hit your email inbox or just follow along with the news. There's going to be a lot of it over the next few months. And Brad, keep me posted. We'll get you back on for an update soon.
I appreciate your time, Shad. We'll talk soon.